All right, I want to welcome everyone to our live Saturday morning presentation. We've done this presentation multiple times in the past. It's called The Art of Asking Questions. I want to do a little bit of an update to it with regards to the world that we live in today. We live in the COVID-19 era, and I just want to show you how you can take this whole process and make some adaptations to it so that you can be more effective in using the art of asking questions as it applies into the lifestyle that we live in today. And before I get into the presentation, again, I want to go to our Synergy Family website and help you understand that what we're going to talk about today, this art of asking questions, is such a critically important skill that if you can improve your ability to ask questions, you will significantly improve your ability to have a better outcome in terms of helping to create interest with, and then lining up your resources with the interest. Then again, if you use the art of asking questions, you can help facilitate that and increase your probability for having a positive outcome. That positive outcome being a person who wants to become a customer of the Synergy product. So if we go on to our Synergy family, we spent some time looking at the new page that we've designed for getting started training. And when you click on that page, you come to this. We've gone through the 6 steps in a previous presentation that we did on Saturday. And as you scroll down, once you get past step number 6, there's things in past step number 6 that we talk about that are key skills to helping you accelerate your Synergy business. Again, one of those key skills is the art of asking questions. So this presentation that has been done in the past is right there. I'm going to record, well, we are recording today's presentation, and I'll put the updated video underneath this one. And I'll also put the PDFs that I'm using in today's presentation in this area, because again, this is such a critical skill. So let's go back and let's look at this whole aspect about the art of asking questions. I'm going to read this statement because I don't know how better to say it. Until you learn how to ask questions, you'll never truly know if the information you're sharing with people speaks to their needs. So often people just tell others about ProArts9 Plus and or the business opportunity in Synergy worldwide. And even if you share this with passion, you're most likely overwhelming them with information, causing them to shut you out. Now, I don't know how it is with you, but when I have a person who starts dumping information on me, especially if it's information I haven't asked for, my walls of resistance immediately go up. Even if I know the person, it's like, okay, I didn't ask about this. Why are you telling me about this? And so I don't know how it is for you, but for me, those walls begin to go up because I want to protect myself from getting overwhelmed from information. Or in some cases, people are going to feel like you're just trying to sell them something. And again, they put up their walls of resistance. Now, by learning to ask targeted questions, see, this is the key aspect. You've got to learn how to ask targeted questions that can help you quickly identify their needs and interests. See, it's not about your needs. It's not about your interests. It's all about their needs and their interests. And if you can do this, then you can always target your information so that what you share with them is going to be relevant to them and not you. Understand this whole process of the art of asking questions is all about finding information from the person that you're talking to so that you can utilize that information not to manipulate people, but rather to use that information to identify their needs and interests. And then if you've got something that can help them, you have a better opportunity if you use the art of asking questions. And I'm going to show you how this works in just a little bit. If you use the art of asking questions, even once you understand their needs and interests, you can then help facilitate their desire to get the additional information that they think will help them. And that's the key aspect. They have to believe that what you're going to share with them will actually address their needs and their concerns and their interests. Now, again, we want to help you improve this skill by understanding how to ask questions. Questions that create interest. In the previous presentation, we did this whole presentation with regards to this whole aspect of creating interest in nitric oxide therapy. As I shared with Bob before we started recording today's webinar, is that next Saturday, I'm going to be doing the nitric oxide therapy marketing strategy. And there is some new relevant information that has just come to light with regards to the COVID-19 virus and how the COVID-19 virus actually attacks the lining of the vascular system, what we all know as the endothelium, and causes problems and damage and harm to the endothelium that leads to increased probability for the endothelium to start causing clots in the vascular system. And clotting is a major factor, especially when people start going down the wrong, when the disease gets more accelerated and at a more aggressive state, then this really becomes an issue. And we'll talk about this and address this a little bit more. But what I want to do is I want to help you understand how you can use what we call an elevator speech, or when you run into conversations, and this still happens today, but I want to show you how to take what are the three most common questions that you hear all the time, and I want to show you how to adapt it into the COVID-19 world that we live in to be able to create a question that causes interest, which then you can follow up with your resources to see if you can move that interest into a person who becomes a client, a person who uses the Synergy Worldwide products. Now, the three common questions that in normal life that we would hear all the time is, how are you, what's new, and what do you do for a living? And a lot of times people will just make simple statements like, how are you? I'm fine. Well, if you just do that answer, I'm fine, or the family's good, or we're all doing good, it's a crazy world, but we're doing good. If that's your answer to that question, then that isn't going to go any much farther in a conversation with that individual. Or what's new? Well, I'm adapting to life as it is in COVID-19. The restaurant I used to go to, I can't go there anymore. I can only get takeout again. It's just crazy what's going on. If that's your answer, then your conversation is not going to go any farther than that conversation. Or what do you do for a living? You might not hear that question very much anymore, because again, what happens in the COVID-19 world is you're typically, if you're out and about, you're masked, you're 6 feet apart, so you really don't get into those kinds of conversations like you did before. But at some point in time, we'll be out of the COVID-19 world, hopefully, and things will return back to more normal. But I want to give you responses for these three questions, and then I want to give you another way for you to engage people through the art of asking questions, so that you can hit a hot button that is currently relevant in today's world, the COVID-19 world that we live in. So what I've done is, this old presentation was all about these questions here: how are you, what's new, and the question, what do you do for a living? And what I've done is I've updated those questions so that your answers to them can be something that you can begin to apply in today's world of COVID-19, and how to be able to create an interest that almost every person has. That is an interest in improving their immune system, because it's clearly necessary that for people who have better immune systems, their probability of getting COVID-19 is less, and their probability of having a positive outcome is greater the better their immune system is. So how do we begin to create conversations around that? So here's what I would suggest to you. The question is, how are you? Instead of using the old standard, I'm fine, the family's fine, we're adapting to what's going on. Your answer is, I feel great. I joined the Million Lives Project and they taught me how to boost my immune system. Have you heard about this project? Again, the question is not, do you want to boost your immune system? The question is, have you heard about this project? And the reason why you ask that question is because most people have never heard of the Million Lives Project. And so because they've never heard of the Million Lives Project, they are going to give you a no response. And that no response allows you to begin this process of asking additional questions to be able to help you create interest. So if you get a no response, which is most likely going to be 99 times out of 100, you can do something like, that doesn't surprise me. Their goal is to educate 1 million people or more on how to use natural ways to improve your health. Learning how to boost your immune system is one of them. Would you like more information? So you begin to help a person understand that there's a way to educate themselves in natural ways to improve their health. And one of those ways is to boost your immune system. And would you like more information? And if you have a yes response to that, then you can say something to the effect that they have a great video to help you understand this. What's your email address? You don't ask whether you want the video or not. That's not your question. You don't say, would you like me to send you the video? That's a yes or no question. Rather, you use a question that has what's called an assumptive close. What's your email address? You're assuming in that question that they're going to want the video because they gave you a yes response. So just use an assumptive question. What's your email address? And if you do that, and if they're truly interested, rather than just blowing you off with a yes, if they're truly interested, then they will give you their email address. And that gives you a second confirmation that they're truly interested in this information. Or if you get the question, what's new? Instead of saying, well, not much, just adapting to what's going on, still at home, working out of my house. Kids are, learning on the computer. It's crazy. Rather than doing something like that, I decided to join the Million Lives Project, and they taught me how to boost my immune system. Have you heard about this project? Again, you make a statement that allows you to ask a question that leads to a response. And typically, again, most people have never heard of the Million Lives Project. You're letting them know that it exists. You're letting them know that they taught you how to boost your immune system. But instead of asking the question about the immune system, you're asking the question, have you heard about this project? No is going to be the response you get 99 times out of 100. The answer to that question, in your own words, that doesn't surprise me. Their goal is to educate 1 million people or more on how to use natural ways to improve your health. Learning how to boost the immune system is one of them. Would you like more information? So what you've done is you're taking a step-by-step process of using questions to continue to create conversation that continues to move a person forward if they have an interest in this area. And again, we live in the COVID-19 pandemic, and people are interested in ways that they can improve their immune system because they've heard enough times from Dr. Fauci and others in the medical community how important a good, healthy immune system is to help a person, if they get COVID-19, to have a positive outcome instead of a negative outcome. So if the answer is, would you like more information? If the answer is yes, they have a great video to help you understand this. What's your email address? Again, assumptive close, what's your email address? Not, would you like me to send it to you? It's, what's your email address? Use an assumptive question that gives you the opportunity to get their email address as a secondary confirmation that they are actually interested in wanting to know how. Now, the last one, which most likely is not going to come up very often in the world that we live in currently, is, what do you do for a living? If you do get that question, again, well, I work for such and such a company. I'm working on my home. It's been crazy, and that the kids, it's like, I'm just glad the people that I talk to are are okay with hearing my kids in the background and stuff. Instead of going down that route, you can, but then understand that your conversation is not going to go any farther than that. Instead, if you use something like this, when you get, what do you do for a living? Well, I coordinate the Million Lives Project for my area. I've been working with my clients to help them understand how to effectively boost their immune system. Do you know anyone who would like to boost their immune system? So in this case, they're asking you a question about what you do for a living. You're putting it in the context of the Million Lives Project, and you're letting them know that you work with your clients to help them understand how to effectively boost their immune system. And then the question is, do you know anyone who would like to boost their immune system? If they say yes, because you're only going to get, when you ask that question, in this case, you're going to get one of two answers. You're either going to get a yes or a no. And if you get a yes, then say, great. I've got an excellent video on the importance of vitamin D to help the immune system. What's your email address? So you again come with an assumptive close that they will want that information, that video on the importance of vitamin D to help the immune system. If you get a no, then say, well, here's my business card. If you ever run into someone who wants to improve their immune system, then please give them my card. Now, again, in the COVID-19 world that we live in, most times people are not going to accept a business card because your fingers have most likely touched it if you're going to hand it to them. And so, again, you see that very little stuff transfers from people to people unless you're in a grocery store or Menards or Home Depot or Lowe's. I got to make sure I cover the big three, where I see people all day whenever I go into those stores touching things and putting things back on the shelf. And it just, makes no sense that you clean the carts and all the shelves are full of people's germs. But that's just an aside. So this last one is most likely going to be the least effective because it's going to be the least one that's most likely asked. The other two are still valid in the world that we live in. Now, before I show you what to say in your email, here's another way to create interest just by asking questions. Even though we are more isolated with stay at home and 6 feet social distancing, we still have opportunities to engage people in conversation. Here are some questions that can help you create interest. How are you holding up in this crazy world of COVID-19? I mean, I get asked that question from my clients that call me. I have other people ask me, friends, how are you holding up? They most likely don't say in this crazy world of COVID, they just, how are you holding up? And it's just assumptive that they're talking about, our crazy world of COVID. Say it. How are you holding up in this crazy world of COVID-19? And then once you ask that question, just be quiet, allow them to answer, and then listen to their answer. Listen to what they share with you, some of the challenges that they've had. A couple of our relatives, just got tested and they showed to be positive for COVID-19. You know, so you listen to what they share with you. And then you can come back once you've listened to them, you can come back with this next question. Do you have any interest in learning how to boost your immune system? Or if they've got family members that have been tested positive for COVID-19, do you think any of them would be interested in learning how to boost their immune system? So a slight change to that same question, depending upon the kind of response you got to the first question, how are you holding up in this crazy world of COVID-19? If they talk about themselves, then do you have any interest in learning how to boost your immune system? If they talk about someone else, do you think they might have an interest in learning how to boost their immune system? Same basic question, just a slight change in words to focus on the answer that they gave to you. And whether they say yes or no, the following response works. So if they say yes, if they say no, it doesn't matter. You're going to use the same response. The reason why I ask is that I came across an eye-opening video on the importance of vitamin D. Would you like me to send it to you? So even if you get a no, you still ask that, you still make that statement and you still ask that question. And the reason why is because they might still want to learn about vitamin D, even though they might not have an interest in boosting your immune system. You know, the whole aspect of an eye-opening video on the importance of vitamin D might cause them to rethink their answer if it's a no and make it a yes. Would you like me to send it to you? In this case, it's not an assumptive close. It's a question because that's the best way of asking it in this series of questions. Now, if you get a positive response in any of the things that we've talked about in this art of asking questions, then it's your responsibility to follow up with the individual with an email. Here's the general email that I would recommend to you. Again, this is a general email. This is my suggestions to you, but you need to take these suggestions and you need to adapt them to your own voice and your own style of speak. And as I've shared in past presentations, whenever you send an email to an individual, before you hit send, you always speak the email out loud, not mentally read it. You read it out loud so that you can hear what you've written. And if what you hear does not sound like you're actually talking to the person in your style of speech with your cadence, then you need to adapt and change the email until when you read it out loud, it sounds like you're having a conversation with that individual. So here it is in my speak, in my language. Dear whoever, thanks for your interest in improving your immune system. I've been following information from the Million Lives Project. Their goal is to help 1 million people or more understand how to use natural ways to improve our health. One of their videos is on the importance of vitamin D. It is an eye-opener. Here's the link. And then this is the link that you would use, which is also on, again, when we come back here, remember what is step number 5? I'm sorry, step number 6 or step number 4 of your getting started training is to pick your marketing strategy. If you go to Immune Health, and if you scroll down on immune health, what video do I want them to see? It's this video here that we put into our Synergy Family library on YouTube about vitamin D deficiency. This is an eye-opener. People who see this video will understand how critically important their vitamin D levels are to their immune system and to their health. So this is the video that you would want to send. Going back to the email, please watch it. If you are interested, I'll share with you some of their recommended ways to improve both your vitamin D levels and boost your immune system. Have a blessed day, Dan. My phone number. Now, there's a reason why this last line is worded the way it is. I'll share with you some of their recommended ways to improve both your vitamin D levels and boost your immune system. So what I'm doing by that last line is I'm placing the recommendations on the Million Lives Project, and I'm setting up two choices so that when I follow up with people, because I'm not going to wait for them to call me, make sure that you put your phone number in there. But again, understand that people are busy still in COVID-19, even though they're at home. There's a lot of things that are going on at home, because especially if they're got their kids home and their kids are not in school and they're trying to work from home, it's a chaotic life that they're living in. So don't assume that they're going to call you. If you send the email, then it's your responsibility to follow up with them, whether they call you or not. And on your follow-up, if they are interested, then what you want to do is you want to give them two choices. And here are the recommended choices that I suggest. Choice number one is vitamin D3 from Synergy Worldwide, the chewable tablets. Choice number two is the immune booster product that Synergy Worldwide launched about 3 months ago. Now, I've got some titles for these two. The vitamin D3 is the most effective way to address vitamin D levels. I'm sorry, the most cost-effective way. It is the most cost-effective way to address vitamin D levels. The other title is the immune booster. It's the most aggressive way to boost your immune system. Again, there's differences between these two. So when you present information, you want to present information where you're giving people two clear choices. The first clear choice is the most effective way to address, the most cost-effective way to address vitamin D levels. It's $18 per bottle. There's 150 tablets, chewable tablets. That's 12 cents a tablet to effectively address vitamin D levels in your bloodstream. Each tablet contains 2,500 international units of vitamin D3. It's chewable for greater absorption, and it's good for the whole family. Now, those are the key points that I would recommend that you know and have memorized, and then you can decide what ones that you want to use. But I'm telling you, that last one, if they live, if they're married, they have a family, you need to say that last statement, good for the whole family. Because when you do that, it will plant the seed that they could use the vitamin D3 for not just themselves, but for their spouse, their significant other, their kids, their children, the people that live in their home. Maybe their parents live with them, their whatever. Every person in that home can benefit from the vitamin D3 chewable. So maybe instead of them just getting one bottle, because that's what they choose, they get 2 or 3 or 4 bottles. They get the 4-pack from Synergy Worldwide. So again, you want to make sure that you present information that allows them to think beyond just themselves. And then the other choice that you give them is the immune booster, the most aggressive way to boost your immune system, not just your vitamin D levels, your whole immune system. It's $49. There's 30 servings per box, and you use 1 serving per day. There's 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. There's 1,000 international units of vitamin D3. It contains 2 key B vitamins that are important to the immune system, B6 and B12. It includes 1 key mineral that is critical to the immune system, zinc. Plus it contains beta glucans and other key ingredients, all designed to boost the immune system. And so you present 2 clear choices. One, just simply to boost their vitamin D levels. Basically, the video that you sent them showing them the importance of vitamin D, you now give them the clearest option for that in a very cost-effective way, but you also present to them a much more comprehensive way that they can not only boost their vitamin D levels, but also boost their immune system with ProArginine Plus Immune Booster. Don't get into the 2-time effect. Don't introduce ProArginine Plus to them at this point in time. Just talk to them about these 2 choices. And then once you've given them the 2 choices, you've got to ask this question. If you don't ask this question, then you might as well not even bother doing the presentation. This question is absolutely critical to ask: which choice is best for you? It is an assumptive question that assumes that they are going to believe that one of these 2 choices is going to be beneficial to them, because you've taken them down what we call a funnel. And in that funnel, you continue to give them pieces of information that is valuable to their interest, so that when you get down to their choices, you have to ask this question: which choice is best for you? And then once you ask that, you have to close your mouth, you have to be quiet, and you have to let them respond. And whether it be that they get the vitamin D3 supplement or they get the immune booster, it doesn't matter. Don't look at what's going to give you the highest CV. Your only concern is to acquire them as a customer, allowing them to make the choice that facilitates their decision, not what you would like to see. Because if you allow them to make their choice and facilitate their decision to choose what they believe is best for them, then help them have a good experience with that. Because if you do, and they've chosen the vitamin D3 supplement, your opportunity to engage with them, to upgrade them to the immune booster at some point in time, becomes a better opportunity. If they choose to do the immune booster, then great. You want to, again, follow through, make sure that they're using the immune booster properly once a day. And again, follow up with them, making sure that their experience is a good experience and that they can see the value. And then you can continue, like if they choose the immune booster, one of the things that you'd want to do, again, going back to the page that we have for the marketing strategy, Immune Health, you want to send them this video on the ProArginine Plus Immune Booster. You want to send them that video. Why? Whether they watch the first 2.5 minutes or whether they watch the whole 19 minutes, if they watch the remaining 17 minutes of that video, they're going to better understand what a great product this is in boosting the immune system. How every ingredient is scientifically proven to have a positive effect in helping the immune system improve. And so that video is something that you would send to them as a follow-up to their choice, to help confirm in their mind that they made a great choice, to help plant the seeds that maybe they might want to share this information with others, especially when you do your follow-up and you ask them a question: how you doing on the immune booster? Listen to their answer. You think any of your other family members might be interested in boosting their immune system? And that's a question, the art of asking questions, that allows you the opportunity for them to say, yeah, I think there's some people that could benefit from this. What do you think is the best way to go about getting this information into their hands? Not give me their names and addresses and phone numbers and email addresses and all that other stuff. No, asking that person, what do you think is the best way of getting this information into their hands? Well, maybe I could send them an email. I think that's a great idea. Do you want any help with that? Well, I don't know. What do you suggest? Well, my suggestion would maybe take that email that I sent you and let's just make a small adaptation to it. Oh, that sounds good. What could that be? Now, I'm going off the top of my head on this, but going back to my email, I would say, okay, dear whoever, this is kind of out of the blue, but I learned some information about improving my immune system. I met a fellow who is part of the Million Lives Project. Their goal is to help 1 million people or more understand how to use natural ways to improve our health. One of their videos is on the importance of vitamin D. It's an eye opener. In fact, here's the link that this person shared with me. Please watch it. And if you are interested, I can have this individual share with you what he shared with me. Some recommended ways on how you can both improve your vitamin D levels and boost your immune system. So that's off the top of my head. Now, again, if I was working with my client and they wanted to send this out because they could see the importance of this, then I would help them shape this so that they would feel good and comfortable with it. And they would feel like, okay, I'm not pushing on to my friends and family. I'm actually just giving them good, useful information. Yeah, I can do this. And so again, it's all done through the art of asking questions and asking the right types of questions in a way that gets a person to want to participate, wants to get more information. Depending upon where they're at in your funnel, the questions change, and the way that you work with that person through your art of asking questions helps to facilitate the additional ability to acquire potential clients. Now, with that said, do I have any questions from anything that's been shared in today's presentation? Everyone's muted, so you'll have to unmute yourself, and I'll be able to take any questions that you have.
Hey, Dan, it's Judy.
Hello, Judy.
Yeah, so you know that I am the queen of questions, something that I learned years ago when I started coaching. And you're right, it is so important to get that engagement. And, a great way to connect with someone else and find out really what's not only going on in their life, but what their needs are and what their hopes are. And by making those connections, asking those really detailed questions, it helps you see where you can support them in their health. And, I just want to say that it's just such an important part of our business. And, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
You're welcome. So I have a question for you, Judy.
Sure.
Since this is the art of asking questions, here's my question. Have you found your use of questions to be significant in increasing your potential for acquiring a customer?
It's absolutely imperative that you use questions, because if you just tell people what you think they want, you'll only be right, according to the experts, about 25% of the time. But if you can find out what they want and fill that need, you will hit the mark 100% of the time. And that's going to raise your odds.
Great. Thank you, Judy. Appreciate your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else with any questions, comments, or suggestions before we say goodbye?
Hey, Dan, this is Bob.
Okay, Bob, I'll let you go first and then David.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to say that it also establishes with that individual that you care about them. And if they know that you honestly care about them, it has an impact on whether or not they're going to listen to what you have to say. Well, everything, really. When people know that you care, it changes the situation.
Sure, and that's why you have to listen to their answers rather than cut them short so that you can get to the next question you want to ask. That would be like a trial lawyer, I mean, or someone in Congress asking a question that really requires a longer answer, but you can't give the longer answer because they cut you off and ask the next question. Yes, it shows you're absolutely right. If you allow people to answer the questions that you ask them, then you can create that kind of rapport and create a feeling that you are actually interested in what they have to say.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else with any comments or questions? David?
Good morning, Dan.
Yes,
Good
that's
morning, all.
David, we'll go to you and then Dr. Brooks.
okay.
Dan, I just wanted to just echo a little bit of what Bob was saying, and so important to listen and to gather information, because the art of asking questions is just that, an art, and it's not about you, it's about them. And you gather information because when you gather information, it gives you the opportunity to introduce a solution. And you're there as a problem solver, and you're making suggestions that really work. You're not blowing smoke up there. You're saying it really works. And it's so great to approach it from that level. Another thing I wanted to say, Dan, in all the course of the conversation, the art of asking question you're talking about, not once do you mention product in the course of the conversation, which is so important. It's basically looking for a solution that is of interest to them for their specific need. And of course, as a result, they're going to ask you, well, what do you do, or how do you solve it? And that's the opportunity to share that video and share information. So I just wanted to point that out, and thank you for great information.
You're welcome, David. Thank you for your input. Appreciate it. Dr. Brooks, you had something that you want to share?
Yes, this kind of hits home real close this week. My son's mother died from complications from the COVID virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And it's one of those situations where I tried real hard to try to get them to get her on the products, but they would never do it. So it's just one of those things where you can try, and some people just won't listen to you.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that we live in, especially loved ones that we try and help them. And it's like, okay, what do you know? Or people are so stuck in their ways. I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But I just wanted to pass it on that it actually, what you're saying hits head on. So just keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job of it.
Thank you. Yep. We'll help as many people as that will accept their help. Absolutely.
Right.
Anyone else with anything that you would like to share before we say goodbye?
Hello, Dan. It's Donald.
Yes, Donald.
One of the things that you've always taught us so well is to shut up after asking the questions, and I'm learning to do that. But sometimes, we find yourself wanting to share a little too much information, so to speak. And only this morning, my sister came by to, have her progeny, and was telling me how she feels and stuff like that. And my nieces, and I actually joked that my nieces said that I think that I'm a doctor. So that's one of the things that I've got to be confronted with as well. So, it's one of those lines that you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful with how you approach even your family members.
Sure. Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing, Donald. And I try not to use the word shut up today. I try to use it a little softer terms, but yes, you're absolutely right. Once you ask a question, be quiet. Keep the mouth closed, because you have to listen to their answer and you have to pay attention to their answer. Yep. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
You're welcome, Donald. Anyone else?
Yes,
I
can't wait until the PDF comes, because that's where I do my best stuff.
Sure. It'll be up on Tuesday's newsletter. Plus on Tuesday, I'll also add it into our our Synergy family on the training side under this area here down at the bottom, where it talks about key skills and helping to accelerate your business. So I'll make sure that the 2 PDFs that I have, the old one, the new one, and today's new video are all here. It'll take up a full line underneath this one here. So.
Excellent.
All right. Anyone else? You're welcome. Anyone else before we say goodbye? All right. I want to thank everyone for your time today. Next week, we're going to be looking at nitric oxide therapy. And there's absolute new information out with regards to COVID-19 and how it affects the lining of the vascular system in a very negative way. And it just becomes another opportunity for us to be able to help people with regards to improving their health. We've got vitamin D3, we've got boosting the immune system, and nitric oxide therapy is critically important to the health of the endothelium, and the endothelium is what is one of the targets of the COVID-19 virus. So whatever we can do to improve the health of the endothelium, again, doesn't mean we don't get the virus, doesn't mean that we won't have complications, but it does mean that we can increase our potential for a positive outcome the more we have all these things working for us. So with that said, we'll talk to everyone next week. Have a blessed weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.